What's that?
Okay. Is everybody ready? We good? Okay. Good? Okay. All right. Thank you for joining me today and Captain Owens, who runs our investigations unit or division at the police department. Yesterday at 5:07 p.m. we were called to the parking deck of Main and Stone, and that is a fairly new apartment community with a built-in parking deck to support the high-rise multifamily housing units that are there. And it was reported that there was possibly a gunshot victim in a vehicle on the third floor of that parking deck. Officers responded and they found 28-year-old Meredith Rame, R-A-H-M-E, in the driver's side seat of a white Honda CR-V. She was deceased from a gunshot wound to the head. From the witness statements, and there was, although not a witness to the shooting precisely, there was a witness who observed the vehicle leaving. And so from that witness statement and the statements from the estranged husband of the suspect, we were able to identify the suspect in the shooting, and we determined that she was 36-year-old Jessica Edens, E-D-E-N-S, of Easley. She is the estranged wife of a resident at Main and Stone, and the victim is an acquaintance of that same resident. Based on witness accounts, We believe that there were 2 children in the back seat of the vehicle who were alive at the time that they left the parking deck following the shooting. We were notified by Pickens County Sheriff's Office that the suspect vehicle had been found with 3 deceased individuals in that vehicle, 2 being children, 1 being an adult female. The adult female is Jessica Edens and her 2 children, a boy and a girl, aged 9 and 5. We are confident that Jessica Eden shot and killed Meredith Rame while she was seated in her vehicle in the parking deck at Main and Stone parking garage. From what we have gathered, Jessica Edens and the male acquaintance were separated at the time of the incident, and there were custody issues going on between the 2 of them regarding one of the 2 children who is a child they have in common. Pickens County, because of the jurisdictional boundaries, Pickens County has picked up the investigation of the 3 deaths in the vehicle. They will comment and are certainly in a better position, and it's more appropriate that they comment on the contents of their investigation or the revelations from their investigation, what they determine. We know that this particular case stems from domestic-related separation and subsequent conflict in that separation. It is really among the most difficult of crimes to investigate, and it's important to remember here that there are families and fathers who have lost young children to the senseless violence, and our hearts go out to them and really to all families who experience this kind of tragedy. So I'll be happy to take some questions if you have any questions, but ultimately our investigation will continue on in conjunction with Pickens County, but it will be essentially cleared exceptionally because both the victim and the suspect are deceased.
Chief, there was a website apparently that Meredith was listed on for taking part in adultery. It was an adultery shaming website. Are you guys aware of that at all?
Yeah, so there were, over the course of the last maybe 3 weeks, there were 3 calls to police, 2 here in Greenville, in the city, 1 to Easley. The one to Easley, I believe, occurred just Tuesday to ask Easley PD to check on the welfare of the children, and that came from the estranged husband involved here who lives at Main and Stone. The 2 that came into Greenville were really around the harassment related, either text messages or phone calls or the posting of derogatory material. And those were contact calls where the victim, in this case, Ms. Rame, was interested in speaking with an officer about what her options were, so an officer called her back. There were no indications of threats or communications, just how to deal with that. It was explained how they could go about filing a complaint with Facebook, but that the person who's, in some of these web postings, social media postings, how to work through that and work through the issue through the person whose website, if you will, it was posted on. The other one was around text messaging, and there were, as I understand it, no communications of any threat or anything like that that would have required a police response. And both parties, to my knowledge, appeared satisfied with the contact and the advice they had gotten from police.
Can you confirm whether there was a romantic relationship between Meredith and the acquaintance?
I cannot confirm that.
Can you confirm if Meredith worked with the acquaintance?
My understanding is that they worked at the same employer.
Can you say where they worked?
I'm not going to do that right yet. Thanks.
Excuse me, is Meredith married?
I don't know.
Chief, was
the answer to
the,
that question? I don't know the answer to that question.
as far as you know, was Mrs. Edens formally divorced from
Separated.
just separated?
Separated.
Okay. And you said there was a child custody issue. This had been at least ruled on in court?
I don't believe I said that, but I do.
No,
I do believe
I'm
in fact. I do believe that there's information I have that there was a recent proceeding in court regarding child custody, and that prompted the call to Easley on Tuesday.
Chief, clarification on the children. The boy is 9. The
Boy is 9.
Five.
Yes, the girl's 5.
And which was the child in common?
The young lady, 5.
Chief, could you clarify the date that Ms. Rame contacted Greenville Police?
June 23rd. And the following one was June 24th from her estranged husband. And the next call was Tuesday to Easley PD, this past Tuesday, July, I think, 11th.
So three calls total, two in Greenville and the other in Easley.
That's right.
And the calls were made by Edens or by Edens and her acquaintance?
Yeah, so they were, I believe his name is Edens, Mr. Edens? Yes, Mr. Edens, and by Meredith Rame.
Can you go over the connections between the suspect and any residents in the Anderson?
That would be Mr. Edens, her estranged husband, separated. She was separated from
And
them.
he has nothing to do with Meredith Rame? Are they two different relationships?
So there is an acquaintance relationship. I'm not going into what that. I don't have all the knowledge of that. There's an acquaintance relationship between the deceased victim, Ms. Rame, and Mr. Edens.
Could you confirm if they lived in the same unit?
I can't confirm.
Is that because you don't know or because?
I don't have the answer to that question, but I don't think it's appropriate at this point to even bring it out if I did have it, but I don't have it.
What is Mr. Edens' first name?
Do we have it? Ben?
What's it like, excuse me, what's it like to, as an officer, to walk up on a scene that was at Pickens, speak with us today?
Well, I think it's I don't even know how to answer that question. I mean, I know how to answer that question. I don't know that that's an appropriate question for this setting, in the sense that it's difficult for us, but there are still family members who have lost their children out there, and out of respect for them and the pain that they feel, and the things that they're going through right now as a parent who have lost children, I think the focus needs to be there. Thank you.
Did you collect video or surveillance from around the scene? As I understand, there is a lot of surveillance in
So we looked for video last night, and actually a number of us didn't see any video cameras, but I'm told today that there were a couple near the entrance of that garage, and so we're pulling that video, and that should confirm the vehicle either coming or going. So we should have a little bit more information over time about whether the suspect followed the victim into the parking garage or basically was lying in wait.
Do you think it's possible that this shooting would have been caught on surveillance video?
No, I don't believe the location of the shooting will actually be caught on, but we're exploring all that. We're trying to pull what video we can.
Chief, your investigation is continuing. What questions do you still need answers for at this point? Where do you go from here based on what you told us today?
Well, I mean, we'll be coordinating with Pickens County. We'll be coordinating with the medical examiner and the coroner's office on the investigation. As we go forward, as they go forward, we'll be working closely also with the family members to try and understand the why behind what happened. And it's very difficult to deal with these situations if you don't understand the why. Don't know that we'll ever fully know, We usually posit certain theories and then try and see how the evidence aligns to those various theories. But espousing any theory here would be more or less speculation, I think, at this point, so can't do that.
Is it clear at this time that the same weapon was used in all of the shootings?
A .40 caliber handgun.
Chief, just to go back to it for clarification, on the 23rd and the 24th, it was Meredith who called Greenville police asking what...
Meredith called on the 23rd, and Mr. Edens called on the 24th.
And those calls were around what her options were with regard to the online bullying?
Yeah, that's my understanding. How to handle that. And my understanding is also that it was explained that we could take police reports, but those were declined.
Was there any indication, based on those two calls, so in advance of what happened yesterday and last night, was there any indication that violence was part of this equation, or possible violence like we saw last night?
So it's not to us, but I can't speak for easily in that situation and Mr. Edens, because I know that he called in a welfare check. So and that was just post the custody decision, and I guess some subsequent texts that had come from that.
Do we have the address of the family, the family that the woman and her children are, were they Easley residents?
Easley residents, yes.
Were the children in school there?
I don't know, ma'am.
Do you know if this was something that Ms. Edens had planned out?
There is some indication that this week, on or about the time of the custody decision, that she had some sense for inflicting violence either on the children or on herself, or both, and that wasn't discovered until after she was discovered last night.
So just to clarify, only one of the children were her and Mr. Edens, correct?
That's correct. Only one child in common.
You said that she had made contact with the appointment prior to shooting Meredith Ramos.
I'm sorry.
What type of correspondence was she indicate that she was going to harm their children or her children, or?
No, I'm not aware that any authorities knew anything about any harm until after yesterday completely unfolded, including finding Miss Edens deceased and her children deceased.
Did the gun belong to Mrs. Edens?
I can't answer that question. It's Pickens may be able to do that.
A .40 caliber Glock, you said?
That's my understanding. Oh, you say Glock? I don't know about Glock. I don't know about Glock. .40 caliber handgun. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, you heard the very end of the news conference with Police Chief Ken Miller wrapping up there. Really what has been a chain of events